Welcome to Dark Side of History channel, where the untold stories of the past come to life. So don't forget to subscribe and uncover the mysteries with us.
Billy the Kid Outlaw Legend. Young Wild West outlaw Billy the Kid became famous for daring escapes, numerous crimes, and his final deadly showdown with Sheriff Pat Garrett in 1881. This teenage gunslinger captured the public imagination with his rebellious attitude and quick-draw skills that made him a legend. Billy's story represented how young men could become notorious criminals and folk heroes in the lawless frontier territories. Hatfield family mountain feud. The West Virginia Hatfield family became legendary for their bitter blood feud with the McCoy clan from Kentucky that lasted for decades. This violent conflict involved murders, raids, and revenge attacks that terrorized both families and their communities in the Appalachian Mountains. The Hatfield feud represented how personal disputes could escalate into warfare in regions where law enforcement was weak or absent. Jesse James, Confederate outlaw leader. Missouri-born Jesse James led the notorious James Younger gang that robbed banks and trains while claiming to continue fighting as Confederate soldiers after the Civil War. This charismatic outlaw became a folk hero to some people who saw him as fighting against Northern oppression and corporate power. James represented how Civil War divisions continued through criminal activity that challenged government authority in the post-war period. Wyatt Earp, legendary lawman hero. Wyatt Earp became a Wild West hero legendary for his role in the OK Corral gunfight in Tombstone, inspiring countless Hollywood films until his death in 1929. This fearless lawman brought order to dangerous frontier towns using his gun skills and determination to enforce justice. Earp represented the brave peace officers who risked their lives to bring civilization to the violent American frontier. Rose Dunn, Cimarron Rose gunfight. Rose Dunn, known as Cimarron Rose, became famous for her romantic connection to outlaw George Bitter Creek Newcomb and for crossing gunfire to deliver weapons during shootouts. This courageous woman defied traditional female roles by participating directly in outlaw activities and gunfights. Rose represented how frontier women sometimes took active roles in the violence and lawlessness of the Wild West. Johnny Ringo, feared outlaw leader. Johnny Ringo was a feared outlaw who led the Cochise County Boys Gang and became known for his deadly showdown with Wyatt Earp in Tombstone, Arizona. This educated gunslinger was both intelligent and dangerous, making him one of the most formidable outlaws in the Southwest. Ringo represented how some criminals combined intelligence with violence to become legendary figures in frontier history. Doc Holliday, dentist, gunslinger transformation. Doc Holliday abandoned his dental practice to become a gambler and gunslinger after moving to Arizona when he contracted tuberculosis. This educated professional turned to gambling and violence while seeking a cure for his deadly disease in the dry desert air. Holliday represented how illness and desperation could transform respectable citizens into dangerous frontier characters. Buffalo Bill Cody, Wild West showman. Buffalo Bill Cody created spectacular Wild West shows that featured performances with Pawnee and Sioux Native Americans in cultural displays that entertained audiences worldwide. This former scout and buffalo hunter turned frontier experiences into theatrical entertainment that shaped how people viewed the American West. Cody represented how the Wild West was transformed from reality into popular entertainment and mythology. Dallas Stoudenmire, El Paso lawman death. Dallas Stoudenmire served as a tough lawman in El Paso during the violent 1880s before being fatally shot by James Manning in a street gunfight. This fearless marshal brought order to one of the most dangerous border towns through his quick gun and willingness to face any threat. Stoudenmire represented the frontier law enforcement who required courage and gun skills to survive in deadly situations. Annie Oakley, legendary sharpshooter rise. Annie Oakley gained international fame at age 16 by outperforming professional marksman Frank Butler in a shooting contest, then marrying him and joining Wild West shows. This remarkable woman became the most famous female shooter in history through her incredible accuracy with rifles and pistols. Oakley represented how exceptional talent could allow women to achieve fame and independence in the male-dominated frontier world. Wild Bill Hickok, young lawman service. James Butler Hickok, known as Wild Bill, served as a lawman in Manello Township, Kansas at age 21, beginning his legendary career as a frontier peace officer. This skilled gunfighter became famous for his quick draw and fearless attitude in confronting dangerous criminals and maintaining order. Hickok represented the young men who took on law enforcement duties in frontier communities, where experience mattered less than courage. Olive Oatman, Mojave captivity survival. Olive Oatman was captured at age 14 in 1851 and tattooed by the Mojave tribe after surviving a family attack in the Arizona desert. This remarkable woman lived among Native Americans for years before being rescued and returning to white society with traditional tribal tattoos. Oatman represented the cross-cultural experiences and survival stories that emerged from frontier conflicts between different peoples. Bat Masterson, gunslinger journalist career. Bat Masterson was a legendary gunslinger and sheriff from Dodge City who later became a respected New York journalist until his death in 1921. This transformation from frontier lawman to urban writer showed how some Wild West figures adapted to changing times and new careers. Masterson represented how frontier skills and experiences could translate into success in different professions and locations. Dominic O'Malley, cowboy poet, songs. Dominic John O'Malley became known as the cowboy poet, whose songs, inspired by Montana ranch life, captured the essence and spirit of Wild West experiences for audiences who appreciated authentic Western culture. O'Malley used music and poetry to express the emotions and experiences of frontier life for audiences who appreciated authentic Western culture. Gordon Pony Bill Lillie, Wild West performer. Gordon Pony Bill Lillie performed in Wild West shows with his wife May Lillie, who displayed medals and demonstrated precision rifle shooting skills to amazed audiences. This husband and wife team brought authentic frontier skills to theatrical entertainment that educated and thrilled people about Western life. The Lillies represented how real frontier people became professional entertainers who shared their skills with the world. John Wesley Hardin, notorious killer record. John Wesley Hardin was a notorious gunslinger who killed at least 27 men during his violent career, making him one of the most feared outlaws throughout the Wild West. This deadly gunman's reputation for quick-draw killing made him a legend of violence and lawlessness on the frontier. Charles Meeks, young cowboy portrait. Young cowboy Charles Meeks was photographed in 1886 mounted on his horse and carrying a rifle, representing the typical image of frontier horsemen. This working cowboy demonstrated the practical skills and equipment needed for cattle work and self-defense in the dangerous frontier territories. Meeks represented the ordinary working cowboys who formed the backbone of the cattle industry across the American West. General Custer, Native Scout Expedition. General George Armstrong Custer was photographed in 1875 with 3 Native American scouts during the Yellowstone expedition before his famous last stand at Little Bighorn. This image showed the complex relationships between military leaders and Native Americans who sometimes worked together despite broader conflicts. Custer represented the military officers who explored and tried to control the frontier through cooperation and conflict with tribal peoples. Harry Patton, Wild West violin entertainment. Harry Patton appeared playing violin while dressed in Wild West attire around 1900, showing how music and entertainment were part of frontier culture. This musical cowboy demonstrated that frontier people appreciated cultural activities and artistic expression alongside their practical work and survival needs. Patton represented how the arts and music flourished even in the rough conditions of the American frontier. George Carac, mustached miner portrait. Miner George Carac posed in front of a wooden cabin in 1897, sporting an iconic mustache that represented the facial hair fashion popular among frontier men. This hard-working prospector showed the typical appearance and simple living conditions of men who sought fortune in remote mining camps. Carac represented the thousands of miners who left comfortable homes to seek wealth in the dangerous and isolated mining regions. Jenny Bowers, Arizona Territory businesswoman. Jenny Bowers became known as the wealthiest woman in Arizona Territory through her successful bordello business in